Hello there, and welcome. Well, here we are, a Friday in need of an anomaly. And this one I'm telling you about is partly inspired by the discussion of games and methods that we've been doing. This one is not about me per se. It's the story of the teacher across the hall. For a time, I taught across the hall from a woman who had really no business in teaching. It wasn't that she wasn't smart, she was plenty smart, but she was a negative and despairing personality, and the effect of her personality on her students was often pretty detrimental. I'd never known a teacher that had more fights in her classroom than this teacher did. She had lots of fights in her classroom. And I think it was principally because she was essentially a negative person and brought out the most negative feelings in her students. I don't think she did it on purpose. And she did reveal some of her baggage in an activity one time that I think can be instructive. She had been complaining about her students with Sue Coleman and I. Sue Coleman and I always were together at that school, and so oftentimes other teachers would talk to us as a pair. And so we were hanging out in the hall, and she came and was complaining about her students. And we suggested, well, why don't you try something new? Try something that you like doing with them. Try to give them something to do that's something you would enjoy. And so she very sweetly, in a way, took that advice. She came up with an assignment where she told the students that they should make a word search. Now, a word search is one of those puzzles that has letters in it, and you search for the words in the puzzle. And she had a vocabulary list, and she said that they would get so much credit for every word from the vocabulary list that they worked into their word search puzzle. And she didn't put a limit on the size of the puzzle. They could make it as big as they wanted. Well, the kids responded pretty well to that. She came the next day and said, oh, the kids are really excited about the word search thing. I'm going to have them turn them in Friday. It's going to be a lot of fun. They're going to turn them in. Okay. So we were pleased to know that she seemed to be developing a happy way, a happy method that might work for her students and make her less negative. So at the end of the week, she came and she showed us this word search puzzle that a pair of students, she had paired the students to create the word searches. I'm not sure why she did that, but she did, and it didn't seem like a bad idea to me. But anyway, two of her worst students, she described them as her worst students, two of her worst students turned in this huge word search, and they had every vocabulary word in there. Isn't that wonderful? And we were like, that is wonderful. That's amazing. And so you may have already guessed where this is going. She came in on Monday, and she was not as happy, although she was energized in a sort of interesting way. It turns out that the kids that made this word search, this huge word search that had every vocabulary word in it, had every vulgarity and profanity in it as well, and some big ones, some huge ones. They were all in this puzzle. The problem was she had Xeroxed the puzzle and handed it out to other students. So, oh man, everybody was doing the word search, and she was word searching this word search, and man, was she finding a lot of words! Okay. So her mistake was handing out the word search to other students before she did it herself. If she had done it just herself, it wouldn't have gotten out anywhere else, but she had given it to other students, so there you are, there it is. Gotta be careful. The thing is, those boys really did do something. They produced something. They learned the vocabulary words. They enjoyed it. It was funny and fun to them. Of course it was perverse. They're teenage boys. They live in perverse. It's really hard to pull them out of perverse for even a few minutes. So the fact that they did at least some of the work was a triumph. Of course, she couldn't recognize that because she was so worked up about how many nasty words were in this puzzle. Okay, people get offended. I get it. I understand. I get offended. I don't like being called names and don't like hearing some of that language, but of course it wasn't heard. It was written down. I don't know. The poor woman, she couldn't even enjoy this kind of wildly perverse triumph she'd achieved. But none of the kids forgot it. I'm telling you right now, I would be willing to bet that the kids that went through her class, some of them still have that thing folded up somewhere in a yearbook and laugh about it every once in a while. It's a funny thing how we cope when students assert their will in a way we're not expecting. It can be difficult. Students have said really horrible things to me, and I've shared some of them, not by any means all of them, but some of them. Students are people. They have wills just like we do, and they want to assert themselves just like we do. And so expecting them to always fall within a certain narrow category of behaviors is a little bit on the foolish side. We know that one of the things that makes human beings fun is that they're animals at heart in many ways, and therefore, being animals, they can surprise us. They can do unexpected things. And I truly believe that teachers should embrace that every once in a while. If kids pull a prank on you, it can be really difficult to laugh it off. But chances are, in the end, it's really because you matter. Not that they love you. They may love you. They may not. But if a kid is willing to play a prank on you, it's because they love you. Not love you. Well, I just said that they don't love you. They love you. They may not know it, but the truth is, you matter. Nobody gets played a prank on who doesn't matter. People matter. And if a kid goes to the trouble of playing a prank on you, you matter. Something you did has meaning for them. And even teachers that they claim to hate, eventually they might come to say, you know what, I didn't hate her. I didn't hate him. I was a teenager and contrary, or I was in a contrary part of my life. I was antagonistic because I felt bad about certain things. I didn't like that the teacher pointed out something that was true about me and it made me angry. But in the heart of all these responses is the valuing of the teacher, the teacher's judgment, and the teacher's instruction. So, if you end up in a word search anomaly where the kids did something you didn't want them to do and it's kind of perverse, try to examine it at a little bit of a remove. And if possible, if it's okay, laugh it off and let it go. I know it can be really difficult. I struggle to laugh things off and let them go. But I've found that laughing it off and letting it go is healthier for everybody involved. That's it for today. I hope you have a glorious rest of the day, and I hope you see me soon. You gorgeous people. No, really gorgeous. Truly, you're gorgeous.